All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Everyone Talks podcast, episode 2.
Yes.
And we're going to call it what?
Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth.
This is Finley.
This is Finley. Watch your mouth, Finley.
Yeah.
More like wash your mouth. So we wanted to talk about this because we feel like it's a common thing.
Issue.
I wouldn't say issue. I would just say
But
it's...
it is an issue.
Okay, why is that?
Because it says in the Bible, it's an issue.
Well, okay, I'm going to come from a different perspective really quickly. It's a way, culture...
Of expressing ourselves.
Expressing ourselves. It's a way of expression. But it's not our way to express ourselves. It's never been our way to express ourselves. So we're going to talk about it. And like she said, we have a Bible verse.
Oh, yes.
Because we grew up in very Christian homes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were taught it was not okay to use foul language or to cuss. Because cussing's bad.
Yeah.
But I'm old enough to say to me, it's just not necessary.
Yeah. Like, there's so many words that you could use.
So many.
So you have multiple choices and that's what you decide to use? Like, okay.
I love the tension I just felt for like 3 seconds. Personally, for me, I tried it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think everybody does.
Right.
And you know what they tell you when you're a kid or whatever, and the only reason people do it is because they think it's cool. And I'm like, oh, it's cool, I can say whatever I want. Then you grow up and you're like, this is not that cool.
There's no
like you could use some intelligent words and you could sound so smart, but no, you're deciding to use those words.
But I mean, like someone gets, hurt or someone gets really mad and they use these words.
Why is that an excuse?
Well, I was going to say, why is that normal?
It's because it's an excuse to say whatever you want to say.
Well, we're going to touch on that.
Without really being in the wrong.
Well, we're going to touch on that because I think that a lot of people, the reason it's normal is because we are a feelings first culture where what we feel
outweighs
what we believe or
know to be true. Yeah.
Or know to be true, or how we like choose to live our life or like choose to walk out our faith. But even if you're not a believer, even if you're not a Christian, I feel like a lot of people choose to use these words because it's just normal. Yeah. To use these words. So we're going to talk on this verse. So I'm going to let you You can't be tired on our podcast.
Listen, okay? Give me.
You are a mother of 1.
2. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so this Bible verse is James 1:26. And it says, if anyone thinks himself to be religious and does not control his tongue, but dilutes his own heart, this person's religion is worthless.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Okay. If you think of yourself to be a Christian,
okay,
right? You claim you're a Christian, but you cannot control the words that you say, like what you were saying, like, oh, I got hurt, so I just said a word, or something happened, it just came out. No. You can control what you say.
Yeah.
And basically, like, no, like, you can control what you say.
Well, I love that it also says that your religion is worthless, which is really interesting phrasing because a lot of people in the church world will say...
Or in parentheses, it says futile and barren.
Oh. So it means you won't carry any weight.
So it's empty.
Oh, okay. Ouch. So your religion is empty because you have no control over your words.
Yeah, and you're not carrying that life.
Which brings me back to that thought that a lot of people will go into, I think it's just so ingrained within them. Maybe they grew up that way or it was something they did in school or something they picked up at home. Yeah. That that is normal. There's no other way. And so like it's not within their nature to think about what they say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not think before you speak, it's just speak.
Yeah.
And when you just speak, it's so driven within like feeling and emotion. And so constantly I've had to, honestly, it's not a battle for me. I don't know if it was ever a battle.
Never.
But it's a battle for some people.
Because I remember the first time like I said a bad word I was like a preteen. And that was like a preteen. I'm like in my 20s now. And it was like whatever when I just stopped, because I'm like, this is so dumb.
I like to let people know, even like within the church world or not, I tell people like it's just not normal for me.
It felt weird. It felt like fake. It wasn't me. Yeah.
It felt fake.
But people, like you were just doing it because the people around you were doing it.
Well, you grow up, you watch it in movies, and there's constantly memes coming out that are hilarious or really, comical, and you're like, oh, I want to say that, but I'm like, if I say it just doesn't sound authentic. And I'm 100% believer that if you're going to be authentic, you can't pretend to be someone you're not, or say things that you don't normally say. Like someone called me out one time for saying sheesh, and they're like, you don't say that. Like,
no. I've always told you, don't say that. You sound like a child.
But I think it's great, but
why?
But the biggest thing I think a lot of people need to take away is that controlling your mouth is, I think cuss words are just like one implication of that.
Yeah.
The other implication is like just negativity in general.
When we first started dating, I was so negative. You know that. You would be like, why are you being so negative? And every time I'd say something negative, you would be like, oh, now you need to say something positive. And it was so hard for me. But like, since you like always did that, now I'm like, I'm the positive one, and I'm like, you need to say something positive.
I think negativity was something I struggled with quite a bit. I mean, I grew up in a not so perfect home. There was, my parents had issues, and everybody was trying to figure themselves out. And as the youngest, you tend to watch everybody go through things. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to you, it's almost like, not that it wasn't important, but
people have been through it multiple times already.
Right. So
they're like, you go through it, and it's like,
you couldn't just figure it out. You were told what you needed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of negativity I kind of like picked up and took on, because I just wanted, and I would say this all the time, well, it's my experience. I just want to go through it, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me or dictate what I want to do. So I'd never controlled what I said. I would just say it. One time, my brother and I were in an argument over one of my ex-girlfriends. Comes in, tells me off, and I'm like, no. And I'm holding like a can of Pringles in my hand. And I was holding Pringles. I'm like, no, whatever. And I said something really disrespectful. I don't even remember what it was. But he crushes my Pringles and pushes me on the wall.
Wait, Pringles are in a can?
Yeah, I took them out. I had some in my hand. I was holding both the can and the Pringles. And he just like crushes the ones in my hands and like pushes me on the wall. But that happened because I did not control what I was saying. Mm-hmm. I was instigating and I was pushing, and
I feel like
I just was like, I was just feeling. I wasn't even thinking. I was just like, I'm angry. I'm annoyed. I'm going to say something completely disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. I remember
it put me in a very negative situation.
Yeah, I did that to my sister one time as a kid.
How?
And I was like, I'm so mad at you. You're going to make me say a bad word. She was like, you won't? I said, yes, I will. And I did. And then she was like, I'm going to tell Mom. And then I just was like, no, don't tell her.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how did you grow up? How did you grow up not... Because when I was younger, I didn't know words like bad. I didn't know bad words. It wasn't until like middle school.
I think that was the same.
But I didn't pick up on negativity till
You like
High school.
junior high. I would say junior high.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you pick it up?
I don't know. I really don't. Like, I remember being in junior high, I was just, I wouldn't say negative all the time, but I feel like I was just rude. Like, there was this one specific teacher that I was just, would fight with her.
The negativity just
and I would just
showed up.
Yeah. And it was only that one teacher.
You know, there was I think teachers can bring it out of a person for sure.
Yeah.
Because there was one time I was wearing a hat and I was at a basketball game and it was a Saturday and there was this teacher and she was telling me to take off my hat. And I was like, it's Saturday. School's not even in session. Why are you telling me to take off my hat right now? And I was really mad, being very negative. And again, it was just one of those moments where I chose negativity over, I guess, understanding where she was coming from. Maybe she was trying to teach me something about respect, but I was not getting it that day. Like, I'm wearing my hat, and I'm very that way still. I still like to wear my hats. But I guess before we get away too much from the thought,
bunny trail, whatever it's called.
I don't struggle as much with saying things I shouldn't say because I've hurt a lot of people with things that I've said. How have you, or have there been a lot of moments where you've been hurt by words or hurt people with words?
No.
Really?
Not that.
Are you perfect, Mackenzie?
No. I'm just saying, like, I don't remember anything. I mean, I probably did hurt people with what I mean, yeah. But I don't remember any instances or anything that was, like, major, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think everybody is hurt at least once in their life by
I was, like, on a tire. Okay, like, maybe I just like making mistakes or being mean. I don't know, one of those. But I
think you just had hurt, so you wanted to hurt others.
I was like always hurting people with my words. Always. And honestly, it was a time period in my life where I wasn't representing my faith constantly. I was saying what I felt and then making people mad and like hurting people. Like it was so easy. I used to say a phrase, it's so easy for me to burn bridges. Why would I do anything else?
Yeah.
I was a very negative person.
That's funny.
But I think there was so many moments where I could have flipped the script or made a switch and I just didn't. But it took a while. It wasn't until I was like 24 until I was like, hey, I probably should watch what I say. Yeah. But it was never bad words. It was always like, it was just it was negative. It was anger. It was frustration. And you're still 22. So you're learning a lot or avoiding a lot of mistakes because of what I've shared with you.
And I just don't have time for that. Listen.
I'm listening.
Just grow up. I'm just kidding. But I always, like, I know I'm young, but I've always felt like the people my age, I was just like, why? Like, why do you do the things you do and think it's fun? Right? Like, I guess that's why I liked you. You're older.
This is not about that.
No, I'm just saying, like, and a lot of my friends were always older. Like, I mean, I had a few friends that were my age, but I don't.
Do you think there was ever moments where you would run back to like this, I guess, kind of coming back to what you spoke about on this verse, where there was moments where you said something and you realized it didn't represent your faith or your character well?
Is there moments that I've done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We all do. I don't know any instances. It's so crazy because it wasn't enough. Like, it didn't happen enough times that it's like, oh, I remember that.
I think you're perfect.
I'm not though. But this isn't one of my like main struggles. So I
would say it's definitely mine.
Yours, right? But it's not mine.
It was definitely mine. But
it's harder for me to talk about.
I switched really quickly. I went from like being negative to like being very encouraging.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought it was so much fun to be mean to people in a way that was very discouraging and very disrespectful. Yeah. There was a moment while we were youth pastors, something happened on a bus on to one of the first trips we went to, and I made a comment and everybody looked at me and they're like, "Why did you say that?" Do you remember that?
That girl. What did you say?
I said something just because she said she had to go to the bathroom or something. I don't remember.
I remember, but I don't remember what you said.
I don't remember what I said, but I remember I said something. Everybody looked at me and they were like, "Why did you say it?" I was like, "I thought it was funny. I didn't think a big deal of it." But it wasn't funny. It was a little shameful and I didn't think about it, and I went up after.
She was like really shy.
Yeah, and I went up after and I apologized because everybody was laughing on the bus.
Maybe that's why I don't really struggle with it, because I was really shy as a kid.
Yo, I was like calling people out. I mean, I would make really mean jokes. I mean, it was a struggle I had because I thought it was funny. Like people
sick. I'm just kidding.
People like it's just so easy to at least it is for me to put people in a shameful position. And I had experiences with like my brothers, and they know if I'm not careful I can be really mean or make someone. I just had a way to use my words that didn't empower people. It just really hurt them. And so and I'm really not meaning to talk a whole lot for this podcast.
But that's just fine, sharing because it's something that you have experience in, more experience than I do, at least in that.
But I would just abuse the words that I had.
Yeah.
And again, it was at a time where I didn't care about my faith. But as I gotten older and we were on that bus, I realized like, hey, that was wrong. So went back, apologized, and made right by that. Because I always want to be the kind of person that does encourage, because I realized what I say definitely represents the kind of person that I am. There's another scripture in the Bible. Don't quote me. I have to find it again. But it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if it's in your heart,
it's going to come out.
It's going to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And I use that in our conversations. I use that a lot.
Yeah. And the thing that's like, I was actually talking this to someone today about this. And it was talking about there's church leaders that don't control their tongue. And they are open about it and don't care who hears. But they're church leaders at the same time. And I was telling her, and it kind of goes back on like to our last podcast, talking about like, I understand why people don't want to go to church. I mean, not every church is perfect, but it's like, how is that okay when it's like in the Bible? It's not.
Yeah, I know a lot of Christians who cuss. And I know a lot of Christians who choose to be negative.
Yeah.
But I think that still comes back to, one, they aren't.
It goes back to because it's cool.
Well, I was going to say it comes back to it's cool. But also I would say they're also not confronted in a place where they're able to understand why it's not okay. Right? Sometimes we just tell people like, hey, don't do that. And they're like, they feel like I do when that teacher said I should put on a hat. And I'm like, why? No. I don't understand why you're giving me this instruction. And so I think a lot of people don't understand. But scripture says in James, we were reading I think it was the 4th or 5th chapter, and it said it's like our words are like a bit in a horse's mouth or a rudder to a ship, it can direct where you go.
It's a small thing, but it's still so powerful.
Yeah, it said it's a small thing, and it can make grand speeches. Like, it can actually direct a whole nation. A mouth can.
Like, think about all the times that you said a negative thing, and you would have stopped and thought before you said that, like, the impact you would have given.
I'm almost trying to get better at that with, like, myself.
Yeah.
I made an Instagram post not that long ago, and I said, I'm going to keep repeating this to myself because I want something to actually change. Like, I want my thoughts to change, but it won't change until I say it, which is a really cool thought, because we think that our thoughts control what we say, but actually what we say controls our thoughts and even controls the direction of our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I used to struggle going to the gym for a long time because I would constantly say,
Nothing's
changing. Nothing's easy. It won't get better.
Yeah.
I'm too overweight. I'm too far from getting better.
It's going to take too long.
It's inconvenient. I don't have time. Yeah, I would say a lot of things.
Yeah.
But they were just excuses.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like trying to get you.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to say, so I'm like, yeah. Sorry.
This is real life.
Yeah, it is.
So.
That's fine.
Do you think there's something you could say to people that would help them to understand why it's important to watch what you say? Or to watch your mouth?
Yeah, or just watch your mouth. Like, I would say if you tried for a week or two, and if you have an issue with, like, speaking negatively over yourself for a week or as long as you can, instead of speaking negatively, speaking life into where you were going to speak negatively.
Yeah.
Or if there's someone in your life that just drives you nuts and you always talk negatively or you always say negative things to whoever it is, change it up. Stop. Don't. Because really, if you think about it, saying something negative, kind of like you're saying, it's a reaction. Don't react, respond, right? And so instead of reacting to the way you were feeling, you can process those feelings, understand why you're feeling that way, but then speak life to it. And see how you grow in a week. Because there will be...
I was going to say, is that what you did whenever... Because you did used to be negative. No,
it was just like gradually, like just change. I don't know how long it took. Just like over time. Like I would say within the last few years is really when I've changed, really.
But did it change not just what you said, but did it change like your personality?
Yeah. Because I didn't like talking. Now I'll talk. I wouldn't have been able to do a podcast 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, because I didn't want to stop talking negatively, if I'm being honest, because it was easy. And it was just what I was used to. When you would make me like say positive things, I'd get like embarrassed. Because it felt so out of character for me.
But I was pushing on you a little bit because I cared about you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt so embarrassed because I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like, what do there's nothing positive to say, but there really is.
Do you think it would have been easier a long time ago if you would have been surrounded by a lot of positive people?
Oh, yeah.
Because I was going to go back to that whole idea, like, say someone's not a Christian, why should they watch their mouth? And
it's not always about like cussing or whatever.
No, it's not. I feel like cussing is, some people say they're just words. I would say they're words that were used for a certain reason or for a certain expression. And I don't really need to express myself in that way. Or I don't need to say those words, because I think naturally a lot of people, like, if you would not go to give a speech and use that word, I don't think you should use that word. if you would go
if you wouldn't go talk, well, some people do talk to their moms and grandmas like that, so I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, some people do. But if you would go see the president, like that's one version of say it, like because you respect who they are and their authority, you would think about what you say, like.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Because there's been times where there's people that I know that respect you and what you do, or someone else that still are like, it just comes out and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Well, if it's okay,
why are you apologizing?
Why are you saying sorry?
That's what I'm saying.
So there must be something, because
you think about the president, they don't care. They probably say the same thing.
There's people that's been around me who have been like, look, I'm so sorry I just said that right now. And it's like, if you think that's authentic to
if you have to apologize for it,
you probably shouldn't be saying
it. Shouldn't say it. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Because I've encountered a lot of people who constantly will say these words, constantly apologize, and then constantly say, or actually, we do know someone who's working on changing their words. I won't say who it is, but it's someone close to us. We hang out with them all the time, and they're working on what they say. And I don't know if they fully are a believer in God or have faith, but they want to be better. And I've noticed a change in their personal life because they're just thinking about watching their mouth and thinking about the words they're about to say and saying it, being intentional. That's been our word. That's been our word for this year let's be intentional. Let's not just say whatever's going to happen is going to happen, or just feel it in the moment. Yeah. Like, let's actually be intentional with what we say, our relationships, our friendships. But I think that has been our specific word because we know it's going to make a difference a year from now. Mm-hmm. And that's just one word. Mm-hmm. Or two words. Be intentional. That's two words.
Or intentionality.
Yeah, one but word. Be intentional. Yeah. But that's been our word because we really understand the power of our word. Mm-hmm. There's so much power in that. Mm-hmm. I think there's a scripture we hear all the time. The power of life and death is in the tongue.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Like if you say
speak negative, you get negative out. You get a negative outcome.
If you say you can't do it,
then you can't do it.
If you say it can't be done,
it cannot be done.
If you say it's impossible,
it's gonna be impossible.
Really, I feel like this podcast episode, you've been my hype man.
That's fine.
Yeah. But yep. But I love that, so many people can really, once you understand the power of your words, my friend Lucas calls it manifestation.
We'll save that for another
topic. You can. I mean, you can bring some things into your life because of what you say. Yeah. But you
can't be like, I'm gonna get $1 million check in my mail. I'm gonna get $1 million check.
Right.
In my mail.
Again,
I'm gonna get $1 million check.
That's obviously completely different. But if I say, hey, today I'm gonna have a positive attitude. Today I'm gonna choose joy. Today I'm gonna choose, these attributes or good things and not bad things. I think.
But that's saying really that you are gonna do something. It's not saying that something's just gonna happen.
But I'm choosing those words intentionally.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, I don't think anybody wakes up and be like.
Some people do.
And they're just
Some people do. Some people wake up and they're like, frick, it's another day. What the heck?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think people wake up and be like, I'm going to be negative today. And they're happy about it.
Well, that goes back to what I said earlier. Like, that's because people are too busy feeling and then they express.
Okay.
In word form. Not people don't wake up and think before they speak. People wake up and they just speak.
Yeah.
And then their day gets thrown to the trash can because they've just chosen to internalize their emotions, and then what comes out of their mouth has nothing to do with, what they actually want to happen in their life. It just has to do with everything they're feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth. It's
or
so
get
important.
some soap and wash your mouth. That's the timer.
That is the timer. That's been 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if we went in circles, but I felt like it was important to talk about certain things. Because watching your mouth isn't just about moral change. It's about really directing your life. And that's what words are for. Mm-hmm. They're not just something you say. It's something that takes you somewhere.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. Good job.
Good job. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
For episode 2. Mm-hmm. My episode, because I talked a lot.
That's fine. I talked a lot last time.
You did. But we're always grateful for you guys tuning in, watching, listening, however you're experiencing this podcast.
Yeah.
We thank you for keeping up with us and hope you join us for the next one.
Yes.